They charged me $700 to live in my own house. After I spent 3 years running their lives for free.
You should be grateful we even let you stay here without charging full market rate. Sweetheart. Those were the words my mother spat at me, standing in the kitchen under that harsh fluorescent light that somehow made everything look worse, the stained counters, the unpaid bills in her hand, and the disappointment on her face that always seemed reserved just for me. In her other hand was her iPad, screen still glowing. Across the room, my older sister Chloe sat at the dining table, casually flipping through a luxury Mediterranean vacation catalog, pointing out beachfront villas she wanted to rent as if money had never been a problem. Meanwhile, her 2 kids, Leo and Sam, were busy drawing all over the wallpaper with permanent markers I had hidden just an hour earlier. No one stopped them. No one even noticed. If you want to keep living under this roof, my mother continued, her voice rising just enough for the neighbors to hear through the thin walls, you'll start paying $700 a month, starting this Friday. I didn't say anything. I just stood there, still in my work clothes, my body heavy from a double shift at the tech support center. 12 hours of staring at glowing screens, solving other people's problems, only to come home and be treated like I was the burden. Chloe let out a soft laugh without even looking up. Honestly, Mom, you should have charged her months ago, she said, flipping a page. She acts like running the house and watching the boys is some huge sacrifice, when she's barely even doing anything. That was the moment something inside me went completely still. Not anger. Not even pain. Just clarity. For 3 years, I had been everything they needed. The one who managed the groceries. The one who handled repairs. The one who stayed up past midnight helping with school projects so Chloe could focus on her personal brand and social life. I wasn't their daughter. I wasn't her sister. I was the system that kept their lives running. And systems don't get thanked. They get used. My eyes drifted to the set of silver keys resting quietly on the counter. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. Instead, I walked down the hallway, opened the closet, and pulled out the suitcase I had packed 2 weeks earlier, just in case this moment ever came. Behind me, I could feel them watching. My mother, arms crossed, already expecting me to break. Chloe, amused, telling her kids to say goodbye to their favorite helper, like I'd be back before the laundry cycle finished. But as I zipped the suitcase shut, one thought settled in my mind, colder than anything I had felt before. If I disappeared tonight, would they miss me? Or would they just miss everything I did for them? Leaving and the beginning of revenge. I didn't look back when I walked out the door. Not because I was strong, but because I knew if I did, I might hesitate. And hesitation was the one thing I couldn't afford anymore. The night air felt colder than usual. Or maybe it was just the first time in years that I wasn't carrying an entire household on my shoulders. No grocery lists. No broken appliances. No voices calling my name from every room. Just silence. And for the first time, it belonged to me. I didn't go far. A small, cheap studio across town. Bare walls, a single window, no furniture except a mattress on the floor. It wasn't comfortable. But it was mine. And that changed everything. The first few days were quiet. Too quiet. My phone didn't ring. No messages from my mother. No apologies. No, come back. Just nothing. At first, it hurt more than I expected. Not because I missed them, but because it confirmed something I had tried to ignore for years. They didn't lose me. They lost what I did for them. But silence has a strange way of sharpening your thoughts. And once the noise was gone, I started seeing everything clearly. 3 years. 3 years of receipts, schedules, passwords, and decisions. I wasn't just helping. I had been running their entire system. Every bill paid on time. Every repair scheduled. Every school form submitted. Even Chloe's personal brand. I built half of it. Emails, bookings, contacts. All under her name. They thought I walked away with nothing. That I was just gone. They were wrong. Because before I left, I made copies. Not out of anger. Out of habit. When you're the one holding everything together, you learn to keep records. Just in case something falls apart. And things were about to fall apart. I opened my laptop that night. The same one I used after long shifts. Answering strangers who never appreciated the help. Only this time, I wasn't fixing someone else's problem. I was finally looking at my own. Chloe's sponsorship emails. Her client list. Her private messages with brands she never disclosed properly. The collaborations that looked more like undisclosed deals. The invoices that didn't quite match the numbers she showed publicly. Small things. Individually, nothing serious. But together? A pattern. Then there were the house accounts. Bills that were late, but not really. Payments that had been delayed, on purpose. Money redirected, quietly. Not enough to notice immediately. But enough to matter. I leaned back in the chair and stared at the screen. For the first time in years. I wasn't overwhelmed. I wasn't exhausted. I was calm. Because now, I finally understood something they never expected me to realize. I wasn't the weakest person in that house. I was the one who knew everything. And people like that don't need to shout to take everything down. They just need to choose the right moment. I closed the laptop slowly. Not because I was done, but because I was just getting started. The public fall. I didn't act immediately. That was the difference between reacting and ending something properly. For the next 2 weeks, I watched. Quietly. Every post Chloe uploaded. Every brand she tagged. Every comment praising the life she built. On top of mine. She looked perfect online. Polished. Effortless. Admired. Exactly the image I had spent years helping her create. And that's why I knew exactly where it would break. It started with a single email. Not to Chloe. To her sponsors. Simple. Professional. No emotions. Just documents. Screenshots of undisclosed deals. Contracts that didn't match what was publicly declared. Messages showing how numbers were manipulated. Everything clean. Everything undeniable. I didn't accuse her of anything. I didn't have to. The truth was enough. Then I sent a second wave. This time, to the platforms. Not as her sister. As a concerned third party. With evidence attached. I hit send. And closed the laptop. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the first crack appeared. A brand quietly removed her from a campaign. No announcement. Just gone. Then another. And another. Within hours, comments started changing. From admiration to questions. From questions to suspicion. Why was this post deleted? Didn't she promote this brand last month? Something feels off. By the next morning, it wasn't quiet anymore. It was everywhere. Threads. Reposts. Breakdowns of her content. People connecting dots she thought no one would ever see. And Chloe? She panicked. I watched her go live. Her voice shaky. Her smile forced. Trying to explain something that no longer made sense. But the internet doesn't care about explanations. It cares about patterns. And once people see the pattern, they don't unsee it. By the end of the day, her biggest deal was gone. Then her second. Then everything. Her brand collapsed in less than 48 hours. But I wasn't done. Because Chloe wasn't the only one who built her life on lies. I sent one final message. This time. To my mother. Not emotional. Not angry. Just one line. I hope the $700 was worth it. An hour later, my phone lit up. For the first time in weeks. Missed calls. Voicemails. Messages. Please come home. We need to talk. This has gone too far. I stared at the screen and felt nothing. Because now. They finally understood something I had known for years. I wasn't just part of their life. I was the part that made it work. And once I walked away and told the truth, everything they built fell with me. Clapperboard final part, the last move. For a while, everything went quiet again. No more posts from Chloe. No more calls from my mother. Just silence. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. Because 2 days later, my name started appearing online. At first, it was subtle. A few comments. A few anonymous accounts. Then full posts. She's lying. She's jealous. She's trying to destroy her own family. I stared at the screen, reading words that sounded strangely familiar. Because they weren't random. They were lines my mother used. Phrases Chloe had said before. Even the tone was the same. They weren't defending themselves. They were trying to rewrite the story. To turn me into the villain. And for a moment, it worked. People started doubting. Not the evidence. But me. She sounds bitter. Why now? Why didn't she speak up before? I could feel it shifting. Not completely. But enough. That's when I realized something. They weren't desperate. They were prepared. Because Chloe went live again that night. Calmer this time. More controlled. She didn't deny everything. That would have been too obvious. Instead, she told a story. About a younger sister who struggled. Who was unstable. Who had always felt overshadowed. She made it sound soft. Almost sympathetic. And then she said it. She's done things like this before. That was the moment everything clicked. This wasn't a reaction. It was a plan. A backup plan. And suddenly, I remembered something I hadn't thought about in years. The documents. Not the ones I used. The older ones. The ones my mother handled. School reports. Medical records. Therapy notes I never agreed to. Moments in my life, rewritten. Edited. Filed away, as proof of something I never was. I opened my laptop again. Not to defend myself. To look deeper. And that's when I found it. A folder I didn't remember creating. Hidden, archived. Inside were files under my name. But I didn't write them. Emails sent from accounts I never used. Notes describing behavior I never showed. Records that painted me as unstable, unreliable, dangerous. And the timestamps? Years old. They didn't just plan to destroy me now. They prepared for this, long ago. Just in case I ever stopped being useful. I leaned back slowly. And for the first time since all of this started, I smiled. Because they made one mistake. They thought I would react. They thought I would defend myself publicly. Argue, explain, beg to be believed. But I had learned something from them. The most effective lies are the ones that look like truth. And the most powerful truth is the one you don't have to explain. So instead of posting, I sent one final package. Not to the internet. To a lawyer. Everything. The evidence against Chloe. The financial records. The manipulation. And the files they created about me. Forgery, defamation, fraud. This wasn't family drama anymore. This was a case. Days passed. Then weeks. And then one morning, my phone rang. A number I didn't recognize. I answered. Silence. Then my mother's voice. Soft. Shaking. Please, just tell them it's not true. I closed my eyes for a second. Not because I was emotional. But because I finally understood something, completely. They never thought I would leave. And they definitely never thought I would stop protecting them. I hung up. No explanation. No warning. Because this time, I wasn't part of their story anymore. I was the one writing the ending.